Hey everybody, real quick review today of the Fotodiox CamDolly. I have it set up here as a slider. I've used the Dana dolly, a JL Fisher doorway type dolly before, and this thing actually does really well. I'm pretty impressed. Set up like the Dana dolly or a slider, it's heavy, but you want that because it's actually nice and smooth. It has right now I have a 75 millimeter adapter on there for this head. It does come with a 100 millimeter adapter and then a flat or a adapter for something like a Mitchell. Now, before I go on, I did get a message from somebody saying, hey, what do you work for Fotodiox? And the answer is no. I don't know these guys from Adam, but I'm going to say this. I reached out to several companies last winter and spring before we shot Low Budget Horror, asking if they wanted to do any type of sponsorship or provide equipment. And I sent stuff out to everybody, by the way, Red, you name it. And two companies enthusiastically got back to me. First of all, Aeroflex. Believe it or not, they responded to me within 1 day. That is impressive because I'm a nobody from nowhere shooting a low-budget horror movie. Also, Fotodiox got back to me enthusiastically, and hey, they've been great. As a matter of fact, I'm using their lights to light this little thing with. I've got their 18-inch Jupiter, and I've got a 200-watt LED Fresnel from them, the DY200. Great lights, been using them. They're rugged. They've stood up to the torture, which is half the battle. Now, back to this. Comes in 3 cases, and I have 50 feet of track, which you'll see in this little BTS video we did from an upcoming short called Strike It, directed by Tom Dallas. Does it do everything perfectly? No. But it does everything that I've used it for well. And when it comes to this, a slider, it's all about the sturdiness. I have 2 C-stands here holding this up, and it's plenty sturdy. It's heavy duty, it's not going to fall off. You can set it up so it clamps on here. No big deal. The rest of it, for anybody that's done dolly work, you know that you can have the nicest JL Fisher dolly out there, and if you don't have a dolly grip that knows what he's doing, it doesn't really matter. So we had this set up in the dolly. I did it inside the interior portions of the chute we did with the rubber tires. No big deal. Worked well. And the outside portion we did with the snake track, they call it, and it worked well. And I'm going to give credit to Daniel Townsend, who was the dolly grip on that chute. Phenomenal. His timing is impeccable. There's a certain amount of being able to anticipate and have a feel for what's going on in the scene to be a good dolly grip, and he's got all of that, and I hope he succeeds, and he'll be long gone pushing a Fisher out in LA before you know it. Anyway, that's what I have for this. We'll show you some pictures from behind the scenes. So far, pretty impressed. I'm going to use it on a few other shoots here coming up at the end of this month, end of August, and in the dolly format. As a doorway dolly, the wheels do pivot a little bit, and they're hard to reset. But other than that, I think that's my only complaint. It takes about 10 minutes to set up. The first time I set it up, it took a bit, and because it came with no instructions, so you had to be kind of intuitive, and then I used the old YouTube for figuring out where everything went. And then converting it to this slider thing wasn't bad at all. It takes about 10 minutes. So on this last shoot, just for instance, we did a whole big dolly push and then converted it to this, and it took, I think it took Daniel about 10 minutes to convert the whole thing and set it all back up, and we were ready to go. I would like to thank Fotodiox, and like I said, I'm not getting paid by them. I'm not doing anything. Their equipment, to be honest with you, is top notch. And without these huge budgets to make these movies, you have to have something if you want the quality shots. And I honestly think this gives it to me. Their lights standing up to the test of time. They've been brutalized on a couple, 3 or 4 sets now by other people, and so far so good. And all right, let's go to the BTS pictures. We're going to start with this BTS picture from the short Strike It, which I'll tell you about in just a second. And basically what I did was I put that camera on a tripod on the dolly and pretty much left it there the whole day, pulled the dolly around because we had so many setups to do, and we actually planned it out all months in advance on how we were going to do this with the shot list and all of that. You can see in the foreground here I did use the Jupiter as kind of a fill. In the back on the far right I do have a 2K Studio Fresnel, tungsten Fresnel with I think I put half CTB on there to simulate the daylight that was coming in from the windows. Strike It is a little short movie. It's a heist movie that takes place in a bank, and it was put together by Tom Dallas and myself and about 50 other people from the Southern Ohio area. And we put this basic movie together and spearheaded this so everybody in this whole area that wanted to be involved can be involved, and all of the material that's in this is going to belong to them. All the anything they could post on social media they could. There was no secrets. Everybody involved gets the footage that they want for their reels, and we're trying to take away the idea that with so many of these indie shorts made, that everybody is always promising IMDb credit and video for their reel, and nobody ever, or I don't want to say nobody, but very seldom does anybody ever come through with that. So that's the idea behind this short. The teaser for this has been done, and it is in the description below. The first one I'm going to show you is Footsteps, operated here, of course, by Daniel Townsend as the dolly grip, with the robber walking in. Just a real basic shot. Here is the BTS picture of it. We put the tripod head with a 75mm adapter inside or onto the dolly with rubber wheels, and Daniel just basically bent over and pushed it across, and that's basically one of our first setups and the first test for this dolly. Next shot's a cool shot, just a left to right dolly move of the bank robbers pulling into the bank before they go in to rob it. What we did was we set this up outside with the CamDolly, as you'll see right here on the snake track. That's me, the fat guy on the dolly, so it supports a lot of weight. I'll put it to you that way. Behind me on the right side there, that is Dan Townsend. He was the dolly grip. Everything that he did was fantastic on this show. He actually is labeled the gaffer, but ended up being the dolly grip because he's so good. On the left side, that's Rachel Wiseman, who worked as first AC and did all of the Steadicam work on Strike It as well. Here is the opening shot to the entire movie. This is taken right from The Dark Knight, and that was kind of the intention. Once the movie comes out, you'll see why. We shot this in Middletown, Ohio, and we did have the permission, and the police were involved in all this stuff, so nobody got shot. Here's a BTS picture of us setting the track up on the other side of the street in front of the Fifth Third Bank. Right here is some video taken by one of the other cast members as they were waiting. All we did was put the dolly on some snake track and push in, a little bit of pull and focus by myself, nothing too serious. And it went really well. Now, as I said, you have to make sure that the snake track is straight. Otherwise, it tends to wobble and you end up moving the camera back and forth. But once you do that, it's great. The setup time for the whole thing was probably about a half an hour. By the time we dragged everything over there, put everything together, put the camera on it, got the talent over there, which for anything like this is not too bad. Real quick, I wanted to say thanks to everybody that was involved with the movie Strike It. Huge undertaking. We did it. The footage that I've been able to look at, everything looks good. Tom Dallas is editing it now. And anybody that knows how hard it is on set with just 4 or 5 people, we're talking 47 actors, background actors, everything, plus crew, plus everybody that's in there, helping feed everybody. I want to say thank you to the Windermere in Middletown, Ohio, which was the bank. What a fantastic location. So if you're ever in and around there, it's got a great old vault. It was a great place to shoot. So until next time, we'll talk to you later.